What is up, everybody? Yours truly, Air Raid Mike here, and got a fun show for you. We're going to finish off the 2023 college football season in grand fashion. Of course, if you actually watch the game, or if you at least you pay attention to the news, we all know Michigan won the national championship, defeating Washington, which I wasn't surprised, but someone apparently was. But guess what? We got more breaking news. Alabama, Nick Saban now, Michigan. The scandal, if you will, came up with a answer to that allegation. We'll talk that. We'll recap the 23 season. Hopefully, my volume button will work today. And let's have some fun talking some college ball. And does the Detroit Lions actually have a chance to make a run in the playoffs? Well, we're going to find that out. We're going to talk more. But first, time to air it out. What is up, everybody? Happy Wednesday, hump day, whatever you guys call it. Go for it. We made it halfway through the weekend. If you're listening beyond today, then congrats. You made it either into the weekend or sometime in the near future. So congrats on that as well. But first things first, listen to us on all major podcast platforms and join the conversation. All the comments will be posted. So join the conversation as we talk some college football. But nonetheless, it's a humongous honor to have probably the biggest Michigan fan that I know. Besides a few other people that I will not name nameless. But Miss Lexi, first off, thank you for taking time out of your schedule for coming on, and congrats on your guys' national championship game. I know you're probably still on cloud nine and recovering from it, but congrats. But more importantly, welcome to the air raid.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on. I'm still on cloud nine. It still feels so surreal, and just one thing I've been waiting a long, long time for again. So feels good.
Well, I'm sure it does. It's been a while. 1997, not to try to bring up those, but that's a long time from 97 to 2023. But real quick as we dive into the show, what was it like, the final moments? I mean, to me personally, I didn't think Washington, no disrespect to Washington, phenomenal season for them, but I didn't think they really stood much of a match against Michigan. But the final moments, even the final 2 minutes, I don't care what it was, what was going through your head watching that clock go down, knowing that you guys are so close to hoisting that trophy up?
Yeah, I mean, the whole game, I was on the edge of my seat, let's be real. And I mean, shout out to Washington and Michael
Absolutely.
Penix Jr., because that dude can sling the ball. And, our defense was just on point all game. And that's what we can hope for. But yeah, when Mike Sainristil intercepted that and ran it back, I just can't even, my heart was just so full. Like, I was crying. I knew it then, that we had it in the bag. And it's just, indescribable, because I was in fourth grade the last time that we did this. So I know I'm stating my age a little bit there, but it's been a long time. And so it's just, tears to the eyes. I even cried about it earlier today, because I just thought, like, God, this team deserves it. Jim Harbaugh deserves it. And I just couldn't be more proud to work for this university.
No, you're right, and Jim definitely does. Going through quite a bit. Even in his NFL days, but of course, the allegations coming out and all that fun stuff. I'm sure, but I know that you got something. I'm sure you're happy about. So I'll let you tell the world that just came out that you guys literally beat everybody this year.
Yeah, we beat everyone. NCAA president comes out and says that it was not because of the sign stealing, that we won it all fair and square. So I am just like, I knew that was going to happen all along. There's just it just feels good to just finally have that stance, though, and know. And sure, yeah, they might investigate some things and maybe throw nothing's getting vacated. That's the point,
Right.
and that's what all that matters to me, is that no one's ever going to take this away. And now they all kind of know that. So I didn't think this could get sweeter, but it sure did.
Of course, that breaking news came out, and of course, breaking news. I mean, literally, I think right before 5 o'clock struck Central Time, maybe on the East Coast as well. Nick Saban, Alabama head coach, one of the greatest to coach in the game of college football, retiring. Who knows as to why and why was it all of a sudden? But what were your first thoughts and your reaction when you got a notification on your phone that Nick Saban is stepping away from the game?
Yeah, so I was actually like not home, and so I like looked down and I'm like in public, and I'm just like, holy like I just it was kind of like stunning. I laughed
Right.
a little bit. You kind of want to be a little bit sad because it was a hell of an era of football, and he's the college football god. Let's be real,
Right.
he's the goat. Until someone else steps up, but I was just shocked. I did not see that coming. I don't think anybody saw that coming because even the fans were acting like they were mourning him. So, it's pretty crazy times, but the whole shift to college football is happening. And, I guess Saban didn't want to be a part of that ride, which can't really blame him.
Well, no, and I know a lot of people have their opinions about college football and the direction that we're going, whether or not it's the NIL, the transfer portal, the fact that EA. I know some people are upset that the EA Sports didn't drop the NCAA trailer for the game, which
We were bamboozled.
I know
Who started that rumor? I want to find them and have a couple words.
because I was patiently waiting for it, never did happen. But no, well, maybe next week. Um,
Hopefully.
Recapping the first question as we kick things off, recapping the 23 season, I mean, of course, national champions, 15 and no, you can't beat that. But looking at at this season as a whole, obviously expectations were high coming in. But just recap in general this season and the good, the bad, and if there was any ugly, what was it? And as you guys progress into that now, the defending it next year, and of course adding some teams to the Big Ten next year.
Yeah, I mean, I just resilience. That's what comes to mind, and brotherhood and chemistry. That's what this team is about. Just the love that these guys have, not only for each other, but for Jim Harbaugh,
Hmm.
for all the coaching staff. You just see it every game, and you saw it from the beginning. Obviously, the good was we kept winning. There was bad in there where Jim was suspended for 6 total games,
Right.
and these guys never skipped a beat. Sharon Moore, just give a round of applause because to go on the road to Penn State, Maryland at home, right before Ohio State, and then Ohio State or whatever, or sorry, at Maryland, and then Ohio State at home. There's just to take those games in the fashion they did, it's unbelievable. It's mind-boggling that happened. So just the resilience of them, and they never gave up, and they kept fighting. The injury of Zach Zinner was devastating. I feel like every year we have just something that's just heartbreaking. And I mean, but when that happened, it was almost like it just launched them into this like new realm of like, I'm going to take these games and win. And I mean, not saying that they wouldn't have won anyway, but I think that gave them a fire to play for their brother that they loved, on that field, and to win it for him. And I just feel like that was just raining through, the postseason.
No, I would say that, and even as a fan of the college football, just in general, um, I know the monkey got off of your guys' back, obviously beating Alabama in the first round. Because I know, not to bring up, I mean, I'm hoping what I'm about to tell you it isn't gonna ruin any way you feel right now. But losing to TCU last year, I'm sure was a pretty bad eyesore to you guys and a bad feeling.
Yes, it was. It was
Pill,
terrible.
hard pill to swallow there. But and I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised TCU even competed in that one. But that's beside the point. But anyway, um, obviously redemption and stuff like this, but the Ohio State thing, keeping, was it now 3 years in a row now? You guys have defeated Ohio State, even though you're supposed to say the Ohio State, which that's stupid
No, we
anyway.
don't respect that around here.
Yeah,
It's
that's pretty
Ohio
stupid
State.
anyway. I mean,
Yeah,
nobody says the Michigan University or the Pennsylvania State. Okay,
yeah.
whatever. But anyway, I know you guys had a chip on your shoulder this year, but you know, what was the feel as a fan? Working university stuff, so on and so forth, heading into Alabama. Of course, we know Alabama from the past, and we know what they can and can't do, and the SEC's dominance the last 9 years, even playing in the national championship. what was it heading into, and then of course beating Alabama? What was that feel finally getting, I guess, over the hump, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, I was nervous.
Yeah.
Saban's a great coach,
Oh,
one of the
absolutely.
best minds on the sideline you could ever come across. So I knew that game was going to be tough. I don't care if it was Milroe's freshman year or if this might be not the strongest team. Like, it was still a Saban
Right.
team. And um, to overcome that and to stop them in the way that they did, I mean, I dropped to my knees. I'm not going to lie. It's been a long time for a bowl game, a long time for the Rose Bowl. To beat Saban and do that and go to the Natty, I was
Hmm.
like pinching myself. Is this real life? But it it's indescribable. I just these last 2 weeks as a Michigan fan have been something I could only dream of as a kid. So I feel blessed.
Which leads to kind of part of the next question. As a Michigan fan, and what do you guys obviously still enjoying the moment? So I'm not taking any of that away from you guys right now, obviously.
Yeah.
But reality will sink in a few weeks down the road, focusing to now 24. Um, Jim Harbaugh, of course, potential chance he may not be back. JJ McCarthy, quarterback, probably wouldn't. I would imagine he wouldn't be back, but you don't know. And the list goes on. What is the feel? Kind of, is there a feel knowing that this what we just witnessed is going to be dismantled by a head coaching decision, or could you see a chance where Jim Harbaugh probably turns down the NFL? It'd be hard to, I'm sure, but you just don't know with him.
Yeah, nobody knows what Jim's gonna do.
Right, exactly.
I don't even think Jim knows what
No.
he's gonna do. His love for Michigan is
Right.
never gonna be like matched. I don't blame him for having that like itch to go to the Super Bowl, though. I mean, he's one of the few to succeed in both levels now, and that's very, very hard to do. I mean, you watch someone like Saban, who is a
Mhm.
god at college football and failed miserably in the NFL. So I think it's kind of just that wanting to prove yourself, but at the same time, I just got this feeling that him and JJ are coming back.
Yep.
If they don't, say Jim does, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a in-house hire of Sharon being promoted to head coach, because you don't want to set off the balance of what has been built. Jim has
Right.
now laid this foundation, built it brick by brick. You don't want to come in and demolish that. So I think whatever happens, that this program is in such a good place, with NIL, with support, with all of that, with the president, finally supporting our athletics, which Michigan really never has had. So, our president Santa has been incredible in that aspect and really fighting for this team and fighting for Harbaugh, everything. So, I think we'll be good. It's going to be a gauntlet of a schedule next year, but Texas, USC, Washington, Oregon. I am so excited. You hear the soft schedule, blah, blah. I don't got to hear that no more. It's going to be good football. It's going to be good football played. You're just going to have to shut up if we win, but this team can do anything. There's still a lot of players going to be returning, especially on defense. So we still got another year. Will Johnson, Mason Graham on our line, who is just a beast. The guy's NFL ready and he's a sophomore.
Yeah.
Same with Will Johnson. So the program's is going to be in good hands no matter what. Jim will make sure of that.
Well, I was going to ask you because I mean, down here, we don't get obviously the Michigan coverage. I mean, and rightfully so. But
Mhm.
I was wondering it was who would be some potential coaches had have Jim Harbaugh leave the NFL, which we would assume so, but you don't know. Like you said, Jim does what Jim does, and sometimes we don't know if he knows what he's going to be doing. But um, if who would be the one replacing him? I'm trying to if I can get that out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think no matter what, it would be Sharon Moore. It was kind of like a test. The first three games with Jim suspended, they did a little bit of a
Right.
carousel. Everyone got a chance to do it, and Sharon really stood out. I mean, no shot to Jesse Minter or anything like that, but Sharon just stood out. And then you saw how he did in the last three games of the season. I just feel like and even if Jim doesn't leave now, I think there's going to be a place for Sharon Moore as a head coach here. Down the road, even. So, I think no matter what, it's going to be in house. They're not going to disrupt anything.
And stuff like that. you really don't see that much anymore. I think Notre Dame, I guess you can throw in from time to time, but you just don't see the within promotion, if you want to call it that, like you used to, or sometimes that you should, or stuff like that. But looking at the 24 schedule, and you brought it up, of course, Texas comes to Ann Arbor, which all I'm going to say is please beat. I just all I ask for you guys next year is just to beat Texas because Texas, of course, with Oklahoma as well, going to the SEC. But nothing would be more sweeter to see Texas lose to you guys and then struggle in the SEC. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say we're not either because you probably will too. But the point of the matter is,
hey, but you don't have to go into a Saban SEC, brother. So that's pretty cool for you. That's all I gotta say.
well, Alabama comes to Norman next year on November 23rd. So, or this year now.
Nice.
So maybe he did not fear Brent Venables. I saw some of the tweets from the Sooner fans, or he's fearing Brent Venables. No.
And this is funny, and I don't believe it in any way, but it's just great that we can kind of push the narrative the rest of our lives that like Michigan and Jim Harbaugh ended Saban. So I thought it couldn't get sweeter after the Natty, and I was wrong. There's a little bit of a cherry on top.
No, I do believe, that I think Oklahoma will be fine. I think Texas will be fine eventually. It's going to take some growing pains, but next year obviously it's different. You guys obviously get Washington. I think the first Saturday. I'm looking at right now on the website, but you guys get Washington the first October, Saturday of October. That should be kind of interesting.
I know. I wish I could fly out for that.
What better way, though? I'm seeing this right now. What better way to start off Big Ten season with USC in Ann Arbor?
I know. And I thought about that even back in the day, because I was a huge football fan all my life, but that Texas USC in 05, 06, I always think about like, oh, I want to be like play with those teams, play those teams. We never played I know we played Texas and lost. That was a heartbreaker, but I'm excited. Those are two just blue blood brands of football, and I'm excited to see them match up.
Of course, you playing new teams. I think you get 3 of the 4 that's coming in. USC, Washington, Oregon. I don't think you guys get UCLA. Is there one specific team like absolutely this is the team I want us to see that switch over from now the defunct Pac-12, or is it, hey, I'm strictly a college football fan? 3 of the 4. Hold on here. 2 of the 3 that you guys play are at home. Ann Arbor, USC, and Oregon. Going to Washington on the other one. Is there USC I'd rather see or Oregon, or is it just, hey, I'm flat out just enjoy football in general?
Yeah, if it was this year, I'd probably have like an opinion on it. But like right. Oregon's losing Bo Nix.
Lose Dan Lanning.
Yep. And Washington lost Michael Penix Jr. Yep. So those teams are going to look a lot different this year. Caleb Williams going to be gone from USC. So it's really, just brace yourselves coming to the Big Ten, because everybody comes in thinking, oh, they're going to be great. Well, Nebraska said that. And like, look what happened. They haven't done anything since they joined. So it's a really stout conference. But I think bringing in these kind of like more high powered offenses is going to kind of give it a little, bit of a new look, and I'm excited for that. I love the expansion happening, so it's exciting times.
I will say this though, there's a lot of changes happening, but you do not have to worry about USC. They do not have a defense.
Facts.
And even next year they will not have a defense. So I think you guys are golden from there. But no, I'm happy for you guys. It's the first national championship that's not from an SEC team since God knows when. I would say Ohio State when the CFP I think kicked off. So
yeah, don't want to remember that times.
Ohio State, you guys are funny. Speaking of college football,
the hate is real. Okay, I swear, it's born and raised to hate each other.
Oh, you Texas, I get it.
Yeah, right. You get it.
Yeah, we get it. Now, is there a chance, or just not going to ever happen? Because I know I guess it's not fair to ask this because OU Texas is, but Is there a chance anyway down the road that Michigan, Ohio State's on a neutral site, even if it's a 1 year deal, or not really?
They'll
Just be curious.
never touch it. That's just the one tradition. I wish they would move it
Hmm.
just because now it's a potential that we could play them like back to back, the end of November and then right in the next, for the Big Ten championship. So, um, it is what it is, but they're never gonna move it. It's gonna either be home and home, or home and home, and then I wish they would even do like home and home jerseys. Like
Oh,
I would
that'd be
love
cool.
that, and they just won't because they're just so with this tradition. It'll never be off at noon. It's always gonna be at noon.
Hmm.
And I think that's probably for the best because you don't want people drinking too long all day between those two fan bases. That could get ugly real quick. But no, that's just it's too much of uh, tradition that they won't touch that. I don't believe.
I know this won't ever happen, but it'd be cool to watch this actually happen and laugh about it as you watch it. What would be the odds? And it's 0%. I know that, but what would be the odds of just having one Michigan player completely running out of the tunnel as Ohio State's at home doing the stupid dot the I thing, which is a traditional, phenomenal band tradition. I'm not knocking that, but
Yeah.
any chance that somebody can just run out there with a Michigan flag and plant it at midfield before the guy dots the I?
You know
Please just
what?
do something. That'd be so cool.
We planted the flag there once, and I don't think that they're gonna ever let us do anything like that again. Like, I
No,
don't. I don't. I think that would cause like a whole war to start again. But uh, it was. Hey, you guys know
Baker
that
did it.
that's what made me love Baker. I'm like, you know
Baker
what?
did it.
Baker owns Ohio State. I love you, and I've always rooted for that guy since.
Yep, Baker. No, it's cool. Now get back to some serious stuff though. The college football course is going in a different direction. We see a transfer portal, which I don't know at this point what's it's about. We see the NIL growing big time. As a fan, just strictly from a fan standpoint, your thoughts on the direction college football is going. The NIL and then the transfer portal seems to be, I think, everybody's kryptonite here. I think it's starting to lose a lot of people's interest here. What are your thoughts on the direction that college football is going?
Yeah, I'm glad that the players are finally getting paid. These NCAA and these schools have made so much money off of these people over the years that I'm happy for that. I think that they'll need to revamp and kind of tighten the transfer portal
Right.
eventually. I think it's getting a little crazy, but you don't blame these kids if they want to chase a bag. That's fine, but
Hmm.
um, there's just a difference in what I actually like what Michigan does. And I know a lot of our fans complain it, but we don't pay players to come here. We tell them when you get here and you work hard doing it, we show like what JJ makes, what Blake
Hmm.
makes. I think, even we raised almost like $1 million goal in a week, like through like this championship fund. So if you just approach it the right way, it can be done right. You still want guys to believe in the message of your program. And I think that's kind of getting lost in all this. You just want to throw
Right.
the bag at the best player, and then he leaves after a year, and you're like, oh crap, there goes that
Hmm.
whole deal. But they'll end up tightening some rules on it, but I like it. You got to adapt with the times. You just got to roll with it. The expansion is good. Bowl games will mean more again. I'm looking just at the mock that they had for this year, thinking of how great that slate of playoff football would have been. You're like, you get some
Yep.
crazy upsets. You never know. It'll be it's parity, and people get so scared of change in that aspect, and it drives me crazy. But yeah, college football was never going to be what it was. It was
No.
never the same when it became the college football playoff from the BCS. Like it goes through different chapters, and this is just the next one. So we got to turn the page.
No, you made a great point, Lexi, because I'm still old enough. I mean, I'm mid 30s. That okay, quit. Um, I'm still mid 30s to where everybody complain about the BCS. Well, the BCS it's not, and it's really what started it when Oklahoma got cremated by Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game. Still made it over an undefeated Auburn team that LSU, that we LSU was still in it. Of course, we lost LSU in the national title game too that year. But and ever since then, it kind of it wasn't. It's not fair enough. We don't know the parity is it's favoritism. Blah 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 blah. Then the following year, USC, Oklahoma, and then the list goes on. But now we've gone to the Final Four. Well, who's the best four teams? We're not going to truly have the four best teams. I still think Washington, as much as I respect the heck out of them, I don't think they should have gotten in. But I don't think Texas should have gotten in either because they lost to a team that lost to Kansas and our little brother. So, um, but anyway, now we're going to fight for the 13th spot or the 12th, really the 12 and 13, the unlucky 13. And now we're going to get to probably 3-4 years down the road. Well, we need to expand it to, Lord, I don't know, 24 or something. I don't know, some ridiculous thing. But it's just not. It's not going to satisfy people. Is where I'm finally ending up with this. Is it's not going to satisfy nobody. And the transfer portal, I do agree, it's a mess. But hopefully, the NCAA can figure a method to that madness. But it is what it is on that one.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's just it's chaos, but you just got to roll with it.
So before we move on to the NFL and your Detroit Lions, because really happy
Yeah.
for you guys.
It's like
Um,
a dream come true, okay? My whole life I never had both these teams good at the same time. I don't know how to act, okay?
well, all I'm saying is you guys are pleasing God up there because I'm telling you, you
Hey,
guys are
we've been
doing.
through hell. We've been through hell. Detroit fans, if anything, deserve the damn
Oh my
world,
God,
okay?
yes. Oh my God, yes. Um, where was I going with that now? Oh, Lincoln Riley. Is there anything? I just so give you guys some insights. He likes to make some raw steak. He does claim that OU fans we try to break into his house,
Oh
but
my gosh. Yeah, I heard some crazy stuff about you
oh
guys.
yeah, Lincoln Riley. He's a character. He's a no, he's a phenomenal offensive mind. But anything exciting about USC coming to Ann Arbor besides it's USC in Michigan?
You know, it was funny because when Lincoln Riley left you guys to like run away to the Pac-12,
Hmm.
I think he kind of thought, okay, I'm gonna be set. It's the
No, absolutely.
Pac-12. I have a high-powered offense, and then the very next year it gets announced that he's going to the Big Ten, and I know that he like shit his pants
Oh, he
because
had
you're
to.
gonna
Yeah.
you're gonna face those. I mean, even Iowa, they might not have a
Hmm.
good offense at all, but they're gonna like kick your ass on defense.
Hmm.
They're gonna only let you score 15 points if you're lucky. So it's that's what I'm kind of chuckling about and excited for, but it's just the USC actually coming here. That was never something that happened before, and it's just any of these West Coast teams and Oregon, Washington to play them. And especially now we're gonna be playing them on a regular basis. Is cool. UCLA too. So I'm excited.
You know, it, no, you're right about that. I absolutely do believe that he left Oklahoma not so much for obviously the Pac-12, but obviously he's like, yeah, okay, we're gonna get on this thing really quick because I know what's gonna happen with the SEC for at least for a while anyway, and I think he got out, and then of course he, like you said, he safe havened it, and then I think he was perfectly fine with just him and UC or with them and UCLA. But I think I can just imagine going through his head when he realized, well, it's Oregon and Washington now. I'm like, oh, okay, well.
I'm
His,
sure. I'm sure of it.
but switching gears, of course, enjoy the moment as national champions because I would say hopefully we win it next year. I don't know, but I'm sure we'll give somebody a chance. Maybe who knows? Detroit Lions, phenomenal team. Dan Campbell's got them going in the right direction. Gibbs in the backfield and Jared Goff leading the team and um I can't think of the Titans' name. I can't pronounce it anyway, so probably wouldn't matter. Um,
Oh, Laporta.
yes, thank you. Phenomenal, all around phenomenal. Just both sides of the ball. Um, first off, the same question I asked Lena with the Cleveland Browns, I'll ask you with the Detroit Lions is did they exceed the expectation? I know that some people expectations were high. I had them pretty high, not winning the division, but I had them high. Did they exceed the fan base's expectations, or what was the expectations headed to into the season, and then even throughout the season? now being a 3 seed, hosting the playoff game, and at home, I think for the first time in 30 years or some
Yeah,
ridiculous number.
91.
Yeah, 91's the trend. So,
The last time we
um,
won it. So
wow,
yeah, I was 3. Ugh.
same here. Yeah. Um,
Um.
but
Yeah.
anyway, go what 91's obviously the number, 12 wins, division championship, but I'm sure was the NFC Central at the time. And
Mhm.
then of course hosting the playoff game. Your thoughts on the 23 Lions, and did they exceed the expectations, and what were they if they didn't, what were they, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah. So actually, my prediction was 12-5. So I'm sitting pretty right now. But they exceeded. Um, if they win a playoff game, that's kind of just house money at this
Mhm.
point because clinching the North, something they haven't done in over 30 years,
Right.
is an important step. But the way that they ended last season, winning 8 of their last 9, ending Rodgers' hopes in the playoffs in
Mhm.
his last game at Lambeau ever, God, that was just so great. Still living that moment too, and then just to steamroll, the Kansas City Chiefs, ruining their Super Bowl presentation by beating them that
Mhm.
Monday or Thursday night or whatever. It's been a wild ride, but Dan Campbell has just done such a great job in adjusting and shifting this culture in Detroit. Same with Brad Holmes, bringing in players that again believe in the message. Gritty, hardworking, which is just the epitome of what Detroit is, and
Right.
I couldn't be more proud of it. They've been playing so well. To finally have competence in the front office is something that I've been waiting my whole life for. Sheila Hamp, who is the daughter of
Mhm.
the Fords, who now runs it, she is the reason that this is all happening, because she finally did not follow in her parents' steps in running this franchise. But just overall, the whole aura of the team, everything has exceeded all our expectations. Sure, people might want to win a playoff game and be upset if we don't, but
Right.
um, I'll be disappointed. But I can't say that I'm not proud of what these guys have accomplished, and the future's set for this. We're not going away. This is never going to be your Matt Patricia or your Matt Millen Lions. That's not going to happen anymore. And you can thank like Sheila for that, and Brad and Dan. But yeah, whole culture is just great. I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited for you guys because I mean, it wasn't a few years ago you guys were, not to bring it up, 0-16, and some really really bad seasons, and some season I thought you guys had something going and kind of backtracked, but I think like you said, Dan Campbell has got them going. Obviously, as long as I think, I hate saying this. I mean, I shouldn't hate saying this, but I'll say it. I think once Dan Campbell, as long as Dan Campbell's in Detroit, you guys are perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
I don't see them going anywhere anytime soon, especially with the NFC North, with a Minnesota team that doesn't have no identity. Green Bay's flopping around with, I don't know what they got going. And Chicago, they just don't know what direction they want to go with, if they're gonna, you know, they're trying to leave Soldier Field, which I don't know if that's a right call, just simply because they don't have a team to produce out there. But they're trying to figure out who their quarterback is and the receivers, and list goes on. But no, I think Detroit, if they stay healthy, if they stay consistent, I think you guys can run this North for however long you guys want to.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the point is we're going to be competitive every year now.
Exactly.
It's not going to be some, you look at your schedule, oh, we're playing Detroit and kind of chuckle under your breath. That's not like it anymore. People are scared to play us. I mean, players have admitted, facing Detroit, that's a tough team. Like,
Hmm.
that's what we've been waiting for. We've had that with different franchises in Detroit throughout the years, the bad boys, the going to work boys for the Pistons. Red Wings have always been tough. So it's finally great to have that in the Lions. They've deserved that.
Well, the Lions definitely do. It's bad years, and it's great for the city because Detroit Tigers been to the World Series. I think, um, I forgot how long that was ago, but they haven't really had decent years since. And of course, Pistons, I don't know what's gone wrong with Pistons. So the Lions, the Lions,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure that's a tough discussion for you guys up there. But the Lions are giving you guys hope for the city because the Pistons are. You know.
That's sad times for the Pistons, but luckily I got my Lions in Michigan, so I ain't even worried about that right now. Don't even want to worry about it. Just hopefully just get through the season, God.
What are your keys for the game for a victory for the Lions against the Rams? That they're not a bad Rams team. I know record speaks for it's it's different from on paper, but pretty decent Rams team. But what are your guys' keys for the game and to get a W at home and to move forward in the divisional round?
Yeah, we've got to have pressure on Matt Stafford. He's going to sling the ball. It's the homecoming game for him. Playoff game hosted in Detroit. He's coming here. It's a whole. I always say we live in a simulation because let's be real. Lions host their first playoff game and Matt Stafford comes to town. It was
Exactly.
written, but it's just about tightening up our secondary. We really gave up a lot of deep passes from Minnesota. And I mean, I know it's Justin Jefferson, but you got Cooper Kupp coming to
Hmm.
town. And it's not Nick Mullins throwing the ball anymore. It's Matt Stafford. So
Hmm.
we've got to have a very tight and very disciplined secondary, I believe, to like really win this game. I think our offense will do what it does best. We've got so
Right.
many weapons. I'm not worried on that end. Goff, remains calm under pressure for the most part. Sometimes he drives me crazy, but this team is clicking on all cylinders right now. But it's just that secondary that I'm worried about, and kind of Cooper having like a crazy game on us,
Yep.
and that's how they can beat the Lions. So as long as we can just tighten up that coverage, especially deep, I think we should be good.
I got a question for you, kind of curiosity. Say the say the Detroit Lions advance to the NFC Championship game. I don't want to give you guys hopes up, so just we're going through simulation mode here. It's on easy rookie mode of Madden. Um, you guys advance to the NFC Championship game. Now, I believe where's the bracket at again? I believe the only way you guys can host it would be if
the
Dallas
Ni- and the
and the
Niners
Niners
lose.
would have to lose.
Yeah, so we're probably not gonna be hosting it. That's okay. But if I make it there, I don't even care. Just get us there. I don't care
Let,
where it's hosted.
what what would be? I can only imagine the city of Detroit would be literally on fire. I'm sure at that point. What would be the? I can just imagine what would happen. What would the city close down for like Monday and Tuesday because the fact that you guys would be in the Super Bowl, they had you guys win the NFC Championship. What would the feel when you're more? I have no idea. I've never been to Detroit or let alone Michigan, so I couldn't tell you what the feel is up there from Adam to Eve. But in your head, how could you imagine the city looking like if you guys advanced to the Super Bowl?
Oh God, all the love in the world. So let me tell you, the crime rate in
Right.
Detroit actually is like inversely like for like if the football team is doing good, the crime
Hmm.
rate is going down. So that's
Hmm.
great right there. But there's always a saying that there ain't no party like a Detroit party.
Right.
And I will tell you, it would be absolutely crazy. I'd be down there. I live about 15, 20 minutes from
Hmm.
there. So luckily, I'm just a quick skipping away. I'd be down there for sure. But, just there's just be so much love. This city deserves so much. And yes, you'll have those crazies that probably want to light something on
Well, of
fire or be
course. Right.
crazy. But I think everyone would just be their hearts would be so full and just want to just celebrate with everybody. It would be a great time. I really hope that we get that chance.
I'm going to ask the same, but in a different way. If you guys advance to the Super Bowl,
Oh gosh.
I know I don't want to give nobody's hopes up. Of course, it has. I'm just my team
Hey,
can't make it.
anything can happen.
No,
Anything can
exactly. No, you're
happen.
absolutely right. The Lions have, I think, a better chance in the NFC than I think the Browns or the AOC. But anything, like you said, can happen.
Mhm.
The guys, the Lions make it to the Super Bowl. You're at home or wherever you usually watch the Lions games at on the road. How how soon are you going to book your hotel room to watch they watch a campaign to watch the championship parade in downtown
You know,
Detroit?
you know what? I honestly I wouldn't even book my hotel because we live so close. I
Yeah.
would just like get down there like at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. even. I will get down there at 3 o'clock in the morning if I have to
But
and
I'm
get
sure
my
you would stay
spot.
overnight.
Yeah. I don't drink, so
Right.
like I'm always like the DD in any situation. So yeah, it would just be crazy. It, God, I want that. I always dreamt of it as a kid. And
Right.
like, and it's funny because when I would hear like we are the champions, like obviously I can play that with Michigan now and it's actually valid, but like I just picture being like on Woodward, which is like the main road in
Mhm.
Detroit. And I just picture on my knees crying my eyes out because we've won the Super Bowl. Like I will do anything in my life. Like that's the one thing in my life that I want is to see the Lions win the Super Bowl. So it would just be unimaginable.
The previous guest brought this up. I'm going to take your guest on your thoughts on it. What would be your thoughts on a Browns Lions matchup? Two of the teams that's been a laughing stock for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it would be great, but it would also break my heart because one of those teams would have to lose. So like, and I don't want it to be mine for the love of God. And I think that if we matched up with the Browns team this year,
Right.
I think we would win. But I just really wouldn't want that to be honest. It would be great, but then yeah, someone's got to like lose, and to see one of those franchises have to get all the way there and then lose would just be devastating. So yeah, it could happen, but yeah, I don't even know what you'd call that. Like
I couldn't either.
the World Championship Super Bowl because that's the last time that we won it was when it was a World Championship.
Well, it could be worse. You could be a Buffalo fan that could make the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that they will, but they could, and they might miss the field goal like they did, previously.
Yeah, they've had a really rough go too. Because yeah, it's like getting all the way there, having like a solid
Mhm.
quarterback, and making all those playoffs and just falling short would drive me crazy.
Next question I got for you. This one's gonna be a tough one, but maybe not for you, especially growing up as a fan for both teams. Say Detroit wins the Super Bowl. Michigan wins the national championship in college football. Detroit wins the Super Bowl. They're first. What would be? I know it may not be so hard to you personally. What would be the more thrill of winning, Michigan or Detroit?
Oh, Detroit, hands down. I always say this that Michigan has my heart,
Hmm.
but Detroit has my soul. I would do absolutely everything and anything to experience the Lions Super Bowl. I'm very grateful for Michigan. I'm so happy
Right,
we are national
absolutely.
champs. But gun to my head, it's going to be Lions Super Bowl every time. And it's not even just for me, but for the city of Detroit.
Hmm.
It's been so long and we've been shit on by everybody forever. And it's Detroit versus everybody. That's the mentality. It always has been and always will be. And I want to see that city have a football championship because it would just mean everything. And I'd give anything to see that the most.
I could see that just because I'm the same way with Oklahoma and Denver's. Yes, I love the Sooners and always will be, even if we may not ever win again. But and of course, but Denver at the same time, though they're I would rather wouldn't have watched them win a Super Bowl. But I will get your opinion from a non-biased standpoint. What are your thoughts on Russ and the Denver situation, and what has gone wrong in Denver from a from just a fan of the game? What are your thoughts on where this is going, and could you potentially see Russ back with a restructured contract instead of being let go or at least cut?
You know, Russell's just kind. I've always rooted for Russell
Hmm.
Wilson. I truly have. But I just feel like these last couple years he's kind of gotten just ahead of himself or like too involved in something that's just not football.
Right.
And I thought that this season when they were starting to win all these games that him and Sean Payton had finally come to an understanding. Because Sean Payton's a damn good coach,
Hmm.
so you could only be blessed to be coached by him and to learn from him. So I think that. I don't know what happens. I really don't. I don't know if he gets in his own head or whatever. Because sometimes he plays amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and then other times it's like a full on dud, and you're like, wow, where did he go? Oh, was he even there? Like I don't even know. But I would like them to do a restructure. I think he was good for Denver, and I think you get some more pieces in there, whatever. But again, it's all about like getting the guys on the same page. Getting we've heard stories in the past of like players that have played with Russell Wilson and say that he's kind of like full of himself in a way. I don't necessarily think that that's the case. I think he's just confident in himself, and it kind of rubs some people the wrong way, which is fine. But I hope that they get it restructured. I really do. I like seeing him there. And I want to see him to keep succeeding. I want him to leave the NFL quite yet because I feel like he's like around our age. I'm like, damn, it's like
For real.
we're so old. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what needs to happen. I think things were good with him and Sean still. So I guess we'll see. But
No, it's going to be interesting. I'm, my theory always has been, doesn't matter if it's Tim Tebow or Peyton Manning or the other 17 quarterbacks we had prior to, but it is okay, cool. If you let him go, who are you going to have to replace him? Stidham's not the guy. We saw that in the last 2 weeks of the season. He's not. He barely moves the offense down the field. He's not the answer. Do you go a Bo Nix route? You don't know. At 12, it's potential. He's a possible, but you don't know. Then you got to find that Sean Payton guy. Who is that Sean Payton guy? And that's still up in the air. I'm with you. I still say he's probably going to be restructured. I think it makes more sense if he's restructured. But like you said, it's funny how people say you're 36 years old and you're old. I'm like, Lord Jesus. And then playing sports, that's old. Like, okay.
I know. I don't even listen to that because I'm like, la 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 la. It's not real life.
In the gym, like, am I really this old? I mean,
right?
dang. But no, it's gonna be interesting what that happens. Of course, we talked Baker. Do you think he's gonna make any moves, make a Bucks push in the playoffs, or are they gonna be pretty much a standstill when the Eagles come to town this week?
I talked about this with my guys on my other podcast, and I believe in Baker. I feel like anytime that there's like any type of odds stacked against him is when he just kind of like is like, the fuck you think that like it
Baker
breaks
mentality
through. Like
comes out.
yes,
Yep.
the Baker mentality. And to mix that, having the home game, which I mean I know Tampa isn't like threatening at home by any
Right.
means, but you're still playing in better weather. But Philly has just been so uncharacteristic, and I'm like, does Sirianni lose the locker room? Are these guys like, not in their right heads? I mean, because they have just sucked, like, and for a long time now, and it wasn't just you're like, okay, oh, it's not such a coincidence anymore. Oh God, oh my God, it's like that freight train just kept on coming of like crappy football. So, yes, they could get it together, but I think Baker's going to come out on top. He's a gritty guy. He'll figure out a way. Eagles are off. They're not in their mindset. They're not the same team they were last year, and it really shows. So yeah, give me Baker in the Tampa Bay Bucks.
I'm now picturing him planting a flag every time now he wins. I knew he was pissed when you guys came down here in was that 16 you guys came down here, or was that 15? Or was that 17? No, I think that was 16.
For what?
When you guys came down and put the beat down on us in Norman. Was that 16? I can't remember now. Because 17 rose. Okay. Spencer, okay. Jalen was 19.
Spencer, I don't think we played you.
18 was Kyler.
Yeah, we haven't played you
either
like since the 70s.
So I thought you guys came down here once when Baker was down here.
I think that something was scheduled. Something tells me something was scheduled, but then it fell through. And then that's when they moved it all to like the 24, 25, 26. Because I think it was supposed to be like almost 10 years ago. And then they moved it like up. I think that's what happened. Yeah, because we haven't. Yeah, I don't remember my whole life playing you guys. Like I would remember,
Yeah,
especially
no,
because like my
that's like
I
yeah.
got like uh you know Sooner family. So
Her we're
some.
all, and what's funny is I backed you up on some tweet. I think it was like a year or two, like 2 years ago. I forgot what it was. Don't even, I couldn't. Somebody put a gun in my head. I would just be blown up because I couldn't tell you what it was about. And then someone says, "Well, she's just X, Y, and Z," and then she went on. I'm like, "Okie dokie." Herbert Raj podcast. Eagles. I'm like, whatever, guys. Eagles playing like they just want the season to be over. Well, they definitely want to be something. Jalen Hurts seen the grass more than he's seen the actual touchdowns a lot lately. But
I know. He
we're
just
gonna
seems
see.
not in his head. Like he's not in
Mm-mm.
his. He's not, he's in his own head. Is what I mean. Very uncharacteristic of him.
Speaking of uncharacteristic, Kansas City.
Yeah.
If
Wow.
Denver actually would have won a handful of those games that we lost by a single possession, I don't know if Kansas City even would have made the playoffs. But here we are anyway. Of course, freezing below 0 temps, I'm sure, for kickoff. But who's not cold at this point? Um, does Miami have a chance? I'm still gonna go. I talked to, or not talked, but I commented on the Herman Raj podcast and mentioned it earlier. But I'm still gonna go with Miami upset. What's your thoughts on? Well, first of all, Kansas City's season has just been turmoil, or something's gone wrong. And could Miami send them? Well, that can't really send them, but do they keep them home for the season?
Yeah. I don't know who I trust more. Where I'm like, we also discussed this before. It was like Tua in like big
Hmm.
situations, not so good. But Kansas City, as much as I would love to choose Miami, I just don't. I think that there's going to be a point where Patrick Mahomes is going to like have that
That
moment because
moment.
he still has that killer instinct. I know it's been a rough season for him, but he's at home. It's on the line. Like the playoffs
Hmm.
are on. The future's on the line at this point. So I like them at home. I think they're going to get gritty and kind of pull out of something that they haven't really had all season and get the job done. I think the Miami will just fall flat, maybe in their own mistakes, really. But yeah, I got Kansas City. Give me just a second. I got to grab my
No, you're
cord.
good. Nope, you're good. Herbert Raj. Jalen's ball security. Yeah. I don't know what's gone wrong. I don't know if there's an injury to his hand. I think it was the Thanksgiving game. I think he was running with the ball in his hand and fumbled it. I don't know exactly, but yeah, his ball security is definitely by Lexi. Oh,
Hey, I'm back.
she's back. I'm sure this is probably Herb. Um, but yeah, his security. I don't know what's gone wrong. I don't know if there's an injury we don't know about or he's just playing some poor basketball, poor football. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, this one I'm not gonna. I don't have much to say on this one. I don't think Pittsburgh's gonna give much of a chance to fight for Buffalo, but freezing cold weather in Buffalo. Any chance? What's your thoughts on the game? Any chance Pitt could pull off the upset?
I thought they could pull off the upset until I heard that TJ Watt was out. And that was their only really their only way to like keep this game close because you're in the cold at Buffalo for the playoffs. That's never a good combination.
Right.
So between that and not having TJ Watt for that defense, Josh Allen can end up having a field day. So yeah, it's not looking good. I think the road ends. Road ends for them this weekend.
Herbert Ross, Pitts and Buffalo would be the most boring of the first.
Yeah,
I could
I bet.
easily see that one.
Yep,
To be fair,
same.
he's probably playing bad. Yeah, Jalen might be. I don't know. I don't know how well his basketball skills are on that one. But and then of course to wrap up the AFC side, Cleveland, Houston. This is going to be interesting. Cleveland hasn't been in the playoffs. This is only the second time in 20 years they've been in the playoffs. Last time Baker Mayfield was there and beat Pittsburgh. And probably should have beat Kansas City. But anyway, Houston, phenomenal quarterback, even though he is a Buckeye. CJ Stroud.
Oh yeah, phenomenal,
Yeah,
phenomenal. I have no
young.
problem. I let that
Yeah,
go when they go pro, and I'm really happy for him. I think he's been killing it. Hey, for him to play like this and know that we
yeah.
stopped him and he didn't win shit in college is good for me.
I love that. Cleveland, Houston, 5-4. Just like in college basketball, 8 to 9 seeds can go either way. I think Cleveland wins, but Houston at home could be a tough one. Um, what's your thoughts on this? And can D'Amico Ryan get his first playoff win as a head coach?
Yeah, I really like the Texans here. I know the Browns have been, on their game and clinch that playoff spot, but with Texans, CJ to Nico is like going to be really like a connection that's going to probably be real good in the future, but they just go off. And I mean, like we said, CJ's been playing out of his mind this year. He's been playing like a professional, like he's been playing for, a long time. And you see a confidence in him now that I think he lacked a little bit in college. He really kind of came out of his shell this year and has just shined. And I don't think it stops here. And another little petty moment is like the Browns fans who are also Ohio State fans will have to choose between their team winning or the team that they probably had to sacrifice their college team for to have a successful NFL QB to end their playoff hopes. So it's going to be a tough game for some people to watch, but I'm excited. That's going to be a good game. I was really excited to watch their game last week, and I'm really happy they clinched it then. That was a great game. But yeah.
And real quick, I want to post this one. This is really directed towards you. So just so I don't know if there's bad blood with this comment or not. I don't see no bad blood. But Herbert Raj podcast, they are brothers and they're both Alabama fans. So this one's strictly towards you, Lexi. But here you go.
Oh yeah, I heard her petty side. You know what? And here's the thing. When we beat Bama, it felt damn good. But I'll say this: I will take that roll tide to the one pride in Detroit all day long. Brian Branch, Jameer Gibbs,
Mhm.
give me those Bama boys all day. So that's where we can be in the middle, guys. I'm sorry we had to beat you in the Rose Bowl and then go to win a natty, but I'll take your players on my professional team any day of the week.
There you go, Herbert Raj. I don't know which one's right now controlling the social on the YouTube comments here, but
I love it.
respond to that. Respond to
Yeah,
that.
I'm not petty in many areas of life, but when it comes to sports,
Oh God,
it
yes.
is like, a high school type of petty. I have no remorse, no care. I will come for you. But you know what though? I take it. And that's the difference here, is that I will take the punches all day, but you better be ready for a haymaker when I get to
Mhm.
throw one because it is gonna be on and I'm very excited.
I will say this though, Herbert Raj, if you guys are still watching, Michigan plays Texas next year, and it happens, I believe, the second
The second week,
the
yeah.
second week. So Herbert Raj, whoever's controlling that um, account right now, if Michigan happens, and by the way, it's in Ann Arbor, just like it was in Tuscaloosa. If Michigan happens to take care of business, I mean, she's got something on you guys now. Just throwing
Right.
that out there. Um, but NFC side, we've been through Philly and the Rams. I still think, even though I called it on the last one, was stick to my guns. I would love to see Detroit win. It's I don't know, Lexi, if it's just me or it's just the Rams being the Rams. This one game, just for me, for some reason, I don't know if it's the inexperience for the Lions with the playoffs or what, but does this sound like a trap game for Detroit in a way where the Rams, if the Rams happen to win, would it really be considered that big of an upset?
You know, really, I'm like, let's play anybody because you got to beat the
Right,
best to be the
exactly.
best. Um, I'm not as scared of the Rams as some people are, just because I feel like we're really poised. But I totally get it. I'm not thinking that we're going to win this game easy. This is going to be
Right.
a shootout and a crazy battle. It probably comes down to running the last few minutes, off the
Hmm.
clock. But you just got to roll with it. At this point, you're kind of playing with house money. You won the North already. You're hosting a playoff game, which we didn't see happening. So, I think they're just going to be playing with a fire that they still want to prove everybody wrong. And I mean, with Matt Stafford coming to town, everyone's talking about this revenge game, that. I think it's Goff's revenge game.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
McVay got all insecure when he said he wanted to bang his girlfriend and shipped him off because he just like never recovered from that. And and wanted to blame all this stuff on Jared. But then you just watched how Jared kind of blossomed into this, general on the field, which I feel like he never had when he was in LA.
Mhm.
It's so different here. And I think you can attest that again to Dan Campbell and his leadership, and the culture. But yeah, it's going to be a good game. But if they lose, yes, it's going to be devastating. I don't want to think about that. But the Rams are a good team. McVay is an incredible coach. So you just got to be prepared and play your heart out.
And I agree on that one. And last but not least, a team that I can't stand at all is Dallas.
Brother,
Green Bay.
same.
I can't stand this team. Green Bay goes to Dallas. I don't see much of a game in this one. It would be nice, though. I will be honest, Lexi, that it'd be nice if Green Bay, not only did they physically fired Mike McCarthy when he was with Green Bay, but it would be nice to see Green Bay beat Mike McCarthy, which could be, in my opinion, his last game as head coach. Because I'm not gonna lie, I think he's still in the hot seat. He's just waiting to be fired now. Whether or not he is, we'll see. But
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe Green Bay can do it again for him.
Yeah, I think it's what's great about that game is that one of those teams gets to lose, and I'm excited
Mhm.
about that. So I'm not sure if I want, I will say that if the Packers upset the Cowboys, that means that we would get to host them back at home, and
Mhm.
I would love to do that. But I also need that rematch against Dallas because that loss was bullshit, and like I'm just still sour about that. Like it's always some shit. So it's like I said, Detroit versus everybody. Always.
Well, you never know. They may make it to the Super Bowl, and then you guys can create all the shirts in the world for it.
Yeah, no, I just can't wait to see the day that Roger Goodell has to hand over the trophy to us. That's gonna be good.
If that happens, and now we'll wrap this whole thing up. If that happens, is Eminem in the background rapping,
Oh gosh,
or
he's
is he the halftime show for the Super Bowl?
oh shoot, he'd have to be the halftime show, but I don't know because then that would be like giving the Detroit edge. They never do that.
True.
But he'd be on that sideline, I bet you. He's always in like a suite watching the game,
Hmm.
going crazy. I love it. It's just such a tight knit culture. With Detroit. If you're from here, you love the city. You'll do anything. You'll die for the city. Like that's what
Right.
it is. It's just something that you can't explain. I don't see a lot of people fighting for their city like people do for Detroit. But it's just because we've always been kicked when we're down. And a lot of people gave up on this city many many years ago. So it's just different for us.
No, I completely, wow, I would say completely get it. But no, I'm sure it is because, it's a city that unfortunately not a lot of people talk about anymore. And if they are, it's more bad than
Yeah.
than really good. So, which turns out to be half the anyway. But no, I hope you guys do well in the playoffs. It's going to be interesting what you guys can do. And even if it doesn't work out, the future's bright in Detroit, and hopefully they can keep this momentum going, though.
Absolutely. The future's bright. I'm so excited.
We're gonna wrap this show up with the the hot seat 5-question hot seat presented by Blackout Coffee. Be awake, not woke. Use the promo code Air Raid Podcast and save 20% on your order. If the Lions win the Super Bowl this year, who is the I don't know. I'm guessing there's only two. Well, I guess it's three. Who is the next major league team that would be closest to winning a championship in their respective sports?
Well, we can definitely say not the Pistons.
They way off.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Red Wings. Steve Eiserman has been, really turning this around, and I kind of fallen some shore or whatever. But are you talking about like in Detroit?
Mhm. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah. No,
yep.
I'd say the Red Wings because even the Tigers, I don't know. Like it's good, then it's not good. It's really
Right.
crappy, and then it's good again. I think that they're heading in the right direction, but they've got a lot longer to go because you just see that all these baseball clubs dropping
Hmm.
millions of dollars, and I just don't know if we've got somebody that would ever be willing to do that. So you just kind of play your cards that you got and hope for the best. But yeah, um, definitely the Pistons last, but I'm gonna go with the Red Wings next.
I feel bad for Kate Cunningham. I don't know if he can't stay. Yeah, I don't know he can't. He seems like he
Oh,
can't stay healthy unless he's trying to get off that court. I don't know what he's
I
trying to do.
know. I'm just distraught because he's such a good player and such a good person, and I just don't want him to, essentially just be ran out of here because they just, want to keep rebuilding, and not actually try to win games. So what can you do?
Somebody. Next question. Somebody. What is going to play? The simulation role here. Someone presents you 20 million bucks.
Oh boy.
You got tickets to so someone's going to present you 20 million bucks. On the other hand, you already have your tickets to the Super Bowl. Now, the only way to get that 20 million bucks is to physically cough up your Super Bowl tickets, where there's a chance that you can miss them celebrating the Vince Lombardi Trophy or losing it. We don't know, but not knowing the future down the road that this could be the only Detroit team in the Super Bowl and that you physically cannot watch in person, what would you do?
You know what? No, give me that 20 million because
Exactly.
when I say it, like the Ohio State Michigan game was like the
Hmm.
first rivalry game I went to in person again since like years, okay?
Right.
Yeah, I went to the Big Ten championship, but even like I didn't want to go to the Rose Bowl. I don't want to go to the Natty because in these type of big games, I act a fool. I don't
Right.
want to do that in public. I'd rather be a crazy idiot screaming in my living room and my neighbors thinking that I'm getting murdered or something. Like I don't know.
Right.
Like, and then at that point, I could just buy some sweet club suite tickets or season tickets for the Lions and just
Exactly.
enjoy it. While getting free food the next few years every season. So, yeah, no, give me that 20 mil.
I like that answer. You're a I'm this I don't talk politics much for many reasons. But you're running for president. Number one, what is your campaign slogan or whatever they call that thing? Number one. Number two, who is going to be your vice president? It can literally be anybody. It don't matter. We're playing simulation role.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Um, I just think about how petty I am, but my slogan would probably be like something like "Never Ohio." It's got to be something like Ohio, or like Ohio is the armpit of America. Like that would be like my slogan.
so what you're telling me there's a 0% chance you're gonna win the state of Ohio?
No, yeah, that's fine. I'll take that loss. I'll totally take that. But if I get a vice president, it's even got to be one of my football coaches. You gotta get the enthusiasm unknown to mankind from Harbaugh, or like
Oh
just the
God, no.
gritty. I'm gonna bite your kneecaps off, Dan Campbell. You need that kind of like hostility, but like energy, to run the nation. So yeah, you gotta give me one of those two guys.
I think Dan. I don't care if Dan's a president or vice president. I think Dan Campbell will be a heck of a guy in office.
Oh God, would he ever? And he'd be such a pure heart, though. They'd probably get rid of him. Like for real.
And then
Like
no, no, they
that's how
wouldn't.
it goes.
Yeah, that no that money. Yeah, there's too much money in that garbage that
Hmm.
it talks really quick. And Jim Harbaugh, real quick, what he would do is practically talk with all the world leaders in khakis. It'd be
you
so
know,
classic.
yeah, no, he would be. Yeah, he's just two good men right there.
Last two questions. One's pretty simple. Headed into 24, what's your expectations as a fan and all the good stuff with Michigan headed into the 24 season?
It to just continue what they've done. Like I said, they built this foundation. The bricks are all there. The guys, that are even coming back to the program, or even the guys coming in, we're on the sideline celebrating. Like it's a tight knit group. So my expectations are high. It's going to be nice with the 12 team
Hmm.
expansion though, because you can drop a game or two. It's not going to be
Yep.
the end of the world anymore. Especially with the gauntlet that Michigan has, you can lose 2 games
Hmm.
and still make the playoffs, which is huge, huge, especially with like the talent that's coming in and the teams you're going to be facing yearly now. So um, the expectations are high, but that's what you do with a program that's becoming elite and that is elite. When you win a national championship, that's the goal every year anyway.
Hmm.
So why wouldn't that continue to be from here on out?
And the last question is interesting one. You guys win the Super Bowl, and now you're planning. I don't know what the day is. Just whenever they schedule it. They're planning Super Bowl. They announced it for the whole city of Detroit and the state of Michigan. Hey, Super Bowl's X, Y, and Z. The Super Bowl trophy. So
Sorry.
no, you're good. And it's below freezing temps. What are you bringing to the parade? 'Cause knowing you, I can already see you are already that you're going to be out there anyway.
Oh,
How
absolutely.
early are you going to show up to get staged for the parade? And what are you bringing with you? Because obviously it's going to be freezing as cold.
Yeah, I'm gonna be getting there like before dawn. So you're gonna catch me there like 4:30 in the morning, getting a parking spot in a structure. But it's all about those layers. All
Hmm.
about the layers. I'm always cold. Like even in the summertime, my hands and feet are cold. Probably like a low iron thing or something, but I don't know. But you just got to get the long johns. You got to get the fleece leggings over those. The long sleeve shirt with a sweatshirt over top. I always been wearing a beanie and like gloves and everything.
Yep.
So you, I could definitely get myself in the hand warmers. Always prepared with those. It's nothing we don't experience like every year. So
Right.
you can bet your ass that the city of Detroit is going to be out there partying, even if it's like -10. I might have icicles on my eyebrows, but I'll be there celebrating.
Hey, if that happens, you guys deserve it. I ain't knocking that one.
Appreciate it. Appreciate that.
No, I had a pleasure having you on, Lexi, talking Michigan and Detroit. Definitely insight because, as I mentioned, we don't get much coverage of either end or, so it's always good to get other fan bases view on, well, in this aspect, your success on your guys' national championship and of course Detroit's success so far and hopefully continues throughout the playoffs.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on. This was so much fun. I know we've been planning this for like
Yeah,
a
I was
long
gonna, that
time
for
now.
right.
I'm glad that I get to half and after the Natty, so I got to talk about that.
That's what I was telling a buddy of mine. He does a podcast. I said, yes, I got Lex. He said, have you? I said, yeah. I said, for some reason, I said, I don't know what kept. I said, either
I
work
think you went
or
traveling abroad.
yeah,
Remember? Yeah,
Israel. Yep.
yeah,
But no, it was good because you guys win a national championship and you had some Bama haters today, obviously. So
yeah, for sure.
you've been listening to the Air Raid Talk podcast. Lexi, where can they find you at on your socials as we wrap it up?
Yeah, you can find me at GoBlueLexi117. Follow me on Twitter or Instagram. Twitter, follow with caution because I do kind of have a mouth on me. But yeah, it's a ride. So make sure to follow.
And of course, listen to the podcast on all major podcast platforms. Find the show on Twitter, Air Raid Podcast, and Air Raid Mike if you want to reach to me personally. Otherwise, we'll be here same time, same place next week. Have a wonderful weekend of playoff football. We'll see you guys then.
See ya. Go Blue.